Okay, so today I thought I would look at the 22 episodes of Risk Shadow Legends that are already out and that are already recorded. And I thought I'd make a tier list because I know that not everyone watches all of these episodes because they're all pretty long. So it's like if you only want to pick a couple to watch, hopefully I can give you my opinion right here on what, again, it's my opinion, but what the best ones are to watch. Um, Obviously, I was a part of all these episodes, so I do remember most of them. There are one or two that I don't remember exactly what happened, but for most of them, I pretty much know how they all went. So let's get into it, starting with airline food. Airline food was it was the pilot, and it was a pretty decent episode. We had all six people there, which is definitely a plus. Oh wait, let me go over the actual tiers first. So we start off at the top, personal favorites. Those are episodes that I really like, and I pretty much have memorized front to back because I've watched them several times. Deserves a rewatch. These are episodes that I really liked recording, and I would like to go back and see them again because I actually haven't seen most of these since uploading them. A lot of the times it's just because they're long. They're pretty good tier. This is just pretty good. It's not great, but it's good. Um, Mixed opinions are there are some good things and some bad things, and they kind of balance each other out to where I hesitate to call it a good episode, but it's not really bad. Don't want to rewatch it. This can either mean that it just wasn't that memorable, wasn't that great. Uh, this just this tier is just the ones that's like I don't really care for them. And then actually bad. These are the episodes that I would prefer to not. I do not want to watch those. Like I know this one's called Don't Want to Rewatch It, but actually bad is the ones where it's like I'm never gonna watch those again probably. So let's get into it, starting with airline food. Airline food. It was about an hour long, I think. Oh shoot. It was about an hour long. It was a pretty decent episode. Uh, there's a lot of back and forth. I remember Jake grew this huge empire and then lost it. Um, in case you haven't seen most of these, I'm gonna try not to speak pretty vague, but I'm gonna put this one into the deserves a rewatch tier because for a pilot and for the first episode, that was actually a really fun one. There was a lot of back and forth. It wasn't clear from like a third of the way in who the winner was going to be, and actually this one it kind of had a reverse. Like someone looked like they were going to be the winner, and then someone came out on top that wasn't them. So that was a pretty good game. There's also a lot of small, like people getting really small but still having a fighting chance. Because I think at that point a lot of us were still getting used to the game. So it was a fun episode. I would definitely go back and rewatch that one. I haven't seen it since it came out. Next up, we have anti-blue propaganda. I know I'm probably gonna salt some apples pretty early in this episode because I'm putting this one in actually bad. Okay, the gameplay was fine. This was the first episode that I won, so you'd think I would have some bias, but I do not like this one for a couple of reasons. First off, the gameplay was generic as Risk goes, which there's nothing wrong with. Basically, it was just about halfway through, like one person, which was me in this case, just kept getting stronger and stronger, and it was pretty clear about two-thirds of the way in that I was going to take it. It was just a matter of who would I take out last. But what really ruins this is the commentary. RJ, Jake, and Davin, this was the first video that all three of them were in. They would not shut up about JoJo. They were making stupid Raid Shadow Legends advertisements, quoting them word for word. RJ had his really annoying Discord voice changing stuff. It was really, the commentary just freaking ruined this episode, and I did not like it. So that's why it goes in the actually bad, because the commentary just ruined it. But the Andaman Islands helps turn things around. This episode pretty much, as is Asia, and the Andaman Islands kind of became a meme because, for reasons, I think it was because it was like Davin's last territory or something. And then eventually Gage just started dumping everything he had into it. It was a very good episode. We learned a lot about the Andamanese. It doesn't matter. So this was just a really fun episode. The gameplay, other than that, was also pretty interesting. You had the wars in Japan between like Tanner and Davin, the wars of the South between RJ and Michael. It was a good episode. I'm gonna put this one in deserves a rewatch as well. I might move it later if I don't have enough in all the tiers or something, but for now I'm gonna put in deserves a rewatch because it's right up there with Airline Food. It's a great episode. Next we have Davin yelling at us. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember too much from this one. Like, I remember this was the first one where I didn't know what the title was gonna be as soon as I finished recording. Like, back when the first one finished recording, I'm like, oh, airline food, because he said it like 20 times that episode. Anti-blue propaganda, because that was pretty prevalent throughout. And then the Andaman Islands was obvious. But this one I didn't really have. In case you're wondering, I make the titles pretty much what I think was like the most memorable joke or something like that from all the episodes, or like a theme in the gameplay or something like that. And I didn't really have one for this one. And I remember at the end of this one, Jack came in and started an interesting conversation about everything. So I'm gonna put this one in mixed opinions because I don't remember a ton, so I don't want to put it too low. But there also weren't. The fact that I don't remember it means it wasn't very good. So I think mixed opinions is where I'm gonna put that one. Next we have the country of Africa. Now this one is interesting because I think compared to all of these, this one had the least commentary about the actual game. It was also the first episode that didn't have a full six player roster. And I honestly kind of like this one. We spent like 30 minutes to an hour talking about like just our favorite YouTubers, and like I think we stayed on the topic of JonTron for a while and like our favorite JonTron videos. It was a good one. So I think I'm gonna put it in pretty good. Because I do remember liking it more than this one, Davin yelling at us, but I don't think it's up there with the Andaman Islands and airline food. It's pretty good. I don't know if I'm gonna go rewatch it anytime soon because this one is the longest one yet. It's like almost 2 hours, I want to say. Like, it's pretty long, but it's a good one. It's like has nice chill vibes, I guess is how you would say that. Whatever. All right, up next we got consistency and repetition. This one I could understand if a lot of people want to put it down here because for a lot of it, it's the same thing over and over. Like I don't know for how long. I remember this was the first episode that actually was over 2 hours long, but because of that stretch in the middle. But the beginning of the game was actually pretty interesting, and the end of the game was also pretty interesting. Um, like the beginning of the game was kind of just a free for all, and then eventually, towards the middle, everyone kind of established this is what I want to do, and then we kept doing it. And then eventually, some big moves happened, some big moves failed, and then the end of the game was pretty interesting. So I think I'm also going to put this one in pretty good because of that. I don't want to put it any higher because of the huge chunk in the middle where we're just doing the same things over and over. And yeah, but it's a good episode, and like even though it drags on too, which is why I'm not putting it as high as these ones. It stays there. I might move it up or down if there's too many in this pretty good because I think there's going to be a lot in the pretty good tier. But we'll see. Up next is West Side Story. Oh, this is easily a personal favorite. This one might be my favorite of all of them. It was such a good game. Basically, this map, I can't remember exactly what it's called, just like Rivertown Advanced. It's split into like two sides, like one east and one west. And the only way to get from side to the other side is across this bridge. And the bridge is single file as far as the territories go. So eventually, one person got weeded out on the west, one person got weeded out on the east, and we just kind of, the four people left agreed we're going to have this alliance, east versus west thing, until eventually someone took the bridge, and then after that, everything broke loose. Very entertaining gameplay wise, but also there was a ton of jokes that were like thrown around in this one, like the fry cook or Davin's off-brand booze, or what was another one? I don't know, but there were a lot of good ones in that. So definitely, and best part about this one, if you ask me, it's 2.5 hours long. Now, unlike any other episode, I would say that's a downside, but this one is so engaging and so fun to go back and rewatch. I think I've seen it like 3 times now. It's very fun to go back. Like, it's a very good episode. If you like the gameplay of Risk and you like the strategy, this is the one for you. It does not get any better than this one. Very great game, West Side Story. It might be my number one favorite. Up next, we got Do It for the Card. Now, this one I don't remember a ton from, if I'm being honest. Obviously, anything coming right after West Side Story is going to look bad. But basically, what happened in this one, I don't even have a good way to recap. Basically, I remember this was the first episode where I lost first, and then I think Davin eventually just came over and maybe it wasn't Devin. I forgot who won this one. Man, the fact that I should go back and rewatch this. It's called Do It for the Card because I remember Tanner wiped me out in a move that I wasn't expecting. That was a pretty dang good move on his part. But nothing else. I'm gonna put it in don't want to rewatch it because I just never. I don't. There's nothing about that episode that makes me want to return to it. Um, and it's not just me being salty about being kicked out first because again that was a great move by Tanner, great content. But there's just nothing about this episode that makes me want to go back and watch. Again, I might move it later once I place the rest of these, but right now I'm leaving it there, and it might stay there for a while. All right, up next is Jack watched Two Piece. This game was pretty interesting. So my game in this one didn't really. I was kind of secluded from the other three. Like basically, they were all battling out in the eastern, like the European side of Russia, and I was just kind of taking all of Siberia. But there was some interesting commentary on this one. Also, this one was very short. Like I think it was just over 40 minutes long. That's pretty short for an episode of Risk Shadow Legends. And then there was also some really bad luck in this one. There's some really good luck, I guess, if you want to look at the positive side of it. There was good luck for someone. Overall, I think I'm gonna put this one in deserves a rewatch because again, this is one that I haven't seen since it was uploaded, and I might want to go back to that one. It was short, so it won't take up my whole day. It was just, I don't know, it was a pretty fun episode. All right, up next we got One Army, No Problem. Now this, I remember this game so vividly because of a couple huge moments in there. Judging by the title, I'm guessing if you haven't seen it, you can kind of guess what those moments are. Now, first off, I'm putting this in personal favorites. The game was so stupid at times. It was like one of the craziest games of Risk I've ever played. Like it was to the point where at the end of it, no one cared who won. It was just like, holy crap, did all of that just happen? It was so back and forth. A lot of things were happening that really shouldn't have. At the end of the game, I think we were just making dumb moves. Like one person at the very beginning was like dead. They were like dead to right, and then they eventually built up this huge empire, took out someone. It took them 2 tries, by the way, and then eventually someone was at like nothing, and then they came back to win or something like. It was so crazy. It's also less than 40 minutes long, so that won't take up your whole day. That's another reason it's up there. Because I know I liked that West Side Story was West Side Story is like Avengers Endgame, and then this is like Napoleon Dynamite. That's a decent comparison. Up next we got That's Kinda Racist. I don't know where to put this one. First off, when I was making my video on how every episode got its name, this is the one where it was the hardest to find the moment where the episode got its name from. Because I just remember RJ said it a couple times, and there wasn't much to say other about this episode. Basically, the way the gameplay worked with this episode is I think one person got taken out, and then someone else got taken out, and then there was 4 for a while, and nothing was really happening. Because I think in this one, everyone was kind of playing a defensive game, and no one was willing to make the big move to make stuff happen. And because of that, it just dragged. Like I think this game was over 2 hours. I could be wrong on that. I think I'm gonna put this in the don't want to rewatch it tier because it's just nothing about this game really stood out. Like eventually at the beginning, some stuff was happening, and then eventually all these huge numbers ended up appearing on the board, and I don't know. And then that transitions pretty well into consistency and repetition 2, which undoubtedly is going down here. Now, there's nothing super wrong objectively with this game. It was just a different style of game than most of these other ones. Obviously, other than like consistency and repetition 1. But this one was so boring to sit through. First off, I believe this one is also over 2 hours long. But like, I swear, everyone was doing the exact same thing on every turn for pretty much the entire game. Like with this one, you remember on this one I said that the beginning was interesting and the end was interesting. And there was just a big drag in the middle. Well, this one is even longer than the first one, I believe. And that interesting time at the end didn't even happen. And the interesting time at the beginning was much shorter. This was easily my least favorite episode of Risk Shadow Legends. I don't think it's objectively the worst, because again, if you like that defensive style of Risk and people really playing it smart, that's probably where to go. But it's just, I did not like sitting through it. Up next, we got some big moves. Now, this one was interesting. It's like combine some of the best moments from West Side Story. Like, there are some massive moves in this one, and a massive move that failed even. Like, some huge gambits, if you will. But there's a lot of drag time in between those moments. Like, this is the longest episode of Risk Shadow Legends, I believe. I believe it's over 3 hours long. I could be wrong, but I think it's over 3 hours long, which is the main reason I haven't gone back and rewatched it. But there were some huge moments in this, big plays. Overall, oh, sorry. I want to put it in deserves a rewatch or pretty good. I think it's definitely not a personal favorite, and it's better than mixed opinions. I think I'm gonna put it. Oh gosh, why do I keep doing that? I think I'm gonna put it in deserves a rewatch. Again, I might move some stuff if I end up putting too much things right there. But I might move it down. No, I'll leave it up. There are the big moves when they happen in that episode are so good, and there's a lot of big gambits in that one that ended up paying off. And even at the end, when it seemed like the second place person was on their last rope, they ended up making a huge move later. Of course, that one was counteracted pretty quickly, but still, it was interesting. The game was long, but unlike this, it was interesting for the majority of the time. All right, next we got the Chinese ripoff episode. It was an interesting one. It was pretty short. I think it was under an hour. And it was pretty much just diet West Side Story, as you can tell by the map. But also, Jack's Yahoo, one of the most iconic moments from that one. RJ kind of stole that. Davin never said, don't do it in this one. It was the first one that he didn't. Again, it was about a third of the length of West Side Story. It was pretty much just diet West Side Story. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Not necessarily. West Side Story was amazing, and Diet God is still God. So, I think I'm gonna put this in pretty good though, because I don't think there were too many amazing moments. I remember my mic cut out a couple times, like for like minutes at a time during this episode. It was kind of annoying. But I don't think the gameplay of this one was nearly as immersive as it was in West Side Story. And of course, with just a bunch of taking things from other jokes, like taking jokes from other episodes, I mean. It was kind of funny, but it's definitely pretty good. Up next, we got Mute Him, I believe. Yeah, Mute Him. This is probably the one episode where I remember the least from. Like, at this point, I'm just going to. All of these episodes in here, outside of like these last three, and maybe like one or two exceptions, these all kind of blend together in my mind. And obviously, that's going to happen when you sit down to 2 Risk games a week. Once you get 10, 12 weeks in, they're going to start blending together. I don't remember much from this episode, but I do remember the gameplay was kind of at best. I do remember this was Xander's first episode, and he got eliminated like pretty dang quick. I'm gonna put this and don't want to rewatch it because there's nothing. I don't know how. I forgot. I kind of forgot how long that episode is. I don't think it's 2 hours, but I think it's over 1. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it and don't want to rewatch it because I don't know. I'm just not feeling that one, if I'm being honest. Yeah, there's nothing that makes me want to go back and look at that. Like nothing I can remember other than I guess to see Xander fail, but I don't know. He didn't even lose in like an interesting way. He just lost as because he was inexperienced, not because he took a huge gambit and it failed. Up next we got You Lost Twice. Okay, so the losing twice thing was pretty funny, and I have never seen anything like that happen again. So that's always pretty interesting. As a whole, though, on the episode, it was kind of The gameplay was kind of mediocre. I don't remember a lot of the commentary from this one. It was the classic 4 at this point, like the 4 regulars, if you will. of me, Davin, RJ, and Tanner. But I think I'll put this in mixed opinions because there were things I really liked about it, and there were also things that I didn't like about it. Um, yeah, I don't really have a ton to say on this one. Like I said, I don't remember a ton from all these episodes. Uh, Just Kill Davin. This one was another one where the gameplay was very mediocre. There was like one gambit at the beginning, and after that, it was just, we're just gonna keep fighting until there's two guys left, and one of them's kind of a favorite, so it's pretty dang average episode. So I would put it in mixed opinions, except I'm actually gonna move it up to deserves a rewatch, and there's one reason for that. This episode is 30 minutes long, which is the shortest out of all of these. You don't have to dedicate your entire afternoon to watch this episode. It's barely over 30 minutes long. Not only it's the shortest, and I think this is the second shortest, and it's almost 10 minutes shorter. Like, it's a good, engaging episode with some nice moments, like the gambit at the beginning, like I said, and then the rest of it, it doesn't drag because it's so short. And that's the only reason it's going into the deserves a rewatch tier, because again, sometimes being a long episode works, but most of the time it doesn't. So a short episode is almost never going to be boring, especially with 5 people. That means on average you have like someone getting eliminated like every 8 minutes or so. Probably a little bit less than that. Up next we have They Removed No Dice, which I'm still mad about, by the way. Oh gosh, what did I do? Okay, never mind. Anyway, They Removed No Dice. Still mad about that. Cannot believe they did that. The dice hate me. Like, freaking hate you for putting that in the game. Why couldn't they just take it on? Okay, enough ranting. I don't remember a ton from this episode. I remember They Removed No Dice, and I remember the big play that Tanner was trying to make, and it ended up backfiring. Like, he would have easily won the game had that play worked, but it ended up backfiring. So I do remember that one play, but because of it play backfiring, after that it kind of dragged a little bit. I'm gonna put this in mixed opinions because I don't remember a ton from it, but yeah, there was one big play. It was also, I think this is the only episode that Connor's been in, but it was a pretty episode. I don't have a ton to say about it. It was just that one move that Tanner made that almost worked. Like that kind of defined it, other than the fact that they removed no dice. So yeah. Up next we got Whale Sounds. First off, great name. Second off, this was an interesting game. I think the most interesting part of this for me, being someone that was there, was kind of seeing Xander turn in from a kid that was making all of these stupid moves and mute him to someone that actually had some sort of strategy and was able to put together some pretty decent turns and last much longer into the game and actually look like he's been here before. So that was kind of interesting for me. As for the rest of the game, it was interesting as well. You had some people collect their bonuses early and some people had their bonuses broken up. You had some nice failed attacks, which are always funny to laugh at. Overall, I think I'm gonna put this one in pretty good. I'm not gonna put it in deserves a rewatch because there isn't enough stuff there. Like I said, there's not enough stuff there to move it up with here. Like all these episodes, I think are better than this for some reason. Like they all have something that this one doesn't. Like Airline Food and Just Kill Davin are shorter than this one. Same with Jack Watch Two Piece, and then some big moves and Andaman Islands all have. Like Andaman Islands has a running joke the whole time, and this one just has some huge, impactful gameplay moments that this one doesn't. So I'm going to put it in pretty good, but I'm not putting it any higher. Up next, we have the Quiet episode. There was literally nothing. This episode is so boring, and it's almost awkward to sit through and try to watch. It's so boring. Like, the commentary is like half of the show, probably even more. Like, this could be a podcast. Like, we've quoted, hey, it's the Risk Shadow Legends podcast over and over. this doesn't work. Like the reason, like I still think that Consistency and Repetition 2 is my least favorite episode of all of them. But this one is probably objectively the worst because there's just no commentary for most of it. It also doesn't help that it's the only three-person game that we've had, and it's always better with more people. But still, the commentary was just so dull and non-existent for most of the time. So it's awkward to go back and watch. I never want to sit through that again. Up next, we got Very Spicy, which goes into the personal favorites. I mean, there are a lot of memorable moments in this one. First off, Tanner at the beginning. I have never seen someone just get screwed over at the beginning as fast as he did. Anyway, after that, you had RJ betraying Jack. That was entertaining. Then you had Jason get a little bit too ambitious. Jack almost died because of Jason's hand. And then Davin became a pretty prevalent force. And then he got completely dunked on by Luck as well. I remember he had one turn where he lost like 20-something troops, and he only killed one of whoever he was attacking. And then the rest of the episode was just spicy. It was just me and Jack being spicy. I think we made the episode like twice as long as it should have, but it's entertaining. The whole thing is entertaining. There's really not a dull moment in there. It's a very good episode. Is it as good as these other two? I don't know, but they're all in the same tier, so I guess it ultimately doesn't matter. This one is kind of like what made One Army No Problem good, with it being a lot of entertaining gameplay as opposed to super serious gameplay. But it's kind of longer. Like I don't know how long it is actually. I think it's only about an hour, maybe a little over. I don't know, but it's still pretty good. What's next? Oh yeah, the final episode. That's out as of the time I'm making this. Keeping tradition. Even though I recorded this 3 days ago, at the time of recording this video, I don't remember a ton from this. I honestly don't. Basically, RJ was getting to be a pretty big threat or something, and then I accidentally let it slip that I could win back-to-back times, and then they all turned on me. Pretty smart move by them. Tanner was being a tactician from the grave. It was interesting. I think I'm going to put it in mixed opinions, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. The commentary on this episode was super heavily gameplay based. There was almost nothing other than the game, which, again, can work, but it doesn't always work, and in this case, I don't think it did. Yeah, there's just not enough memorable moments in this one to put it any higher. Like, there's memorable moments in all of these. The beginning and end for this one, all the stupid jokes in this one. Like, there's something you could, when you think of these episodes at the top, you can say one thing that's like, oh, I remember this from that episode. This one doesn't really have it, other than except for that one moment when everyone decided to turn on me. But that's not, at least for me, that's not as important or memorable as a bunch of these. I don't know if it's because I'm internally salty about it. I might be. I don't think I am, but I might be. I don't know. It's just this one didn't. I could totally understand someone putting it here or maybe even here, but I don't know. If you want to put it down here or up here, stop taking drugs. Okay, so I think that is the whole tier list so far. Obviously, this is only the ones that are out right now, so if you're watching this after like 3 days of this video coming out, it'll probably be outdated. So I might make these again. I might make this video again, but not going over these episodes again. I'm probably just going to go over any ones that come out after this. I might leave like the first one in every category just so that I have like something to base it off of. But this was fun. This was a fun video to make. That's what my tier list looks like. If you guys want to make this tier list yourself, you can be sure to tell me how wrong I am and how your opinion is superior. I'd be willing to listen to you. I think that's it for this video. Thanks for listening to me rant about my own show. Uh, Obviously, new episodes still coming out every Tuesday and Saturday. I don't plan on changing that anytime soon, especially with the online school. That'll be easier to plan, so expect to see a lot more Risk Shadow Legends coming. If you like the show, let me know. If you like this video, let me know. Again, if you want to try and get into Risk Shadow Legends, I would recommend these ones here at the top. Some of the shorter ones, though, like Airline Food would be great. This one would be really good to watch early on. A lot of the longer ones, like West Side Story and some big moves, I would watch those after you've already gotten used to the show, so that your first taste of the show isn't a couple hour long marathon, even though these are amazing episodes still. Anyway, so that's my tier list. I've dragged this on long enough. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around.